Hey, stay where you are. Hands up.
I didn't do anything,
Keep
man.
your hands where I can see them.
Back off. You're my
Turn around. Now.
I said I didn't do
Turn
it.
around.
Get off me.
Vance, easy. Hands. You move again and I'll drop you.
I'm not fighting you, man.
That's smart. Stay still.
Right wrist secure.
You think you're tough? You don't run from me. You hear? You run, I own.
The call came in quiet. A disturbance on a back road. Nothing special. Officer Raymond Holt thought it would be another routine stop, another drunk with excuses. He didn't turn off his camera this time. He never did. The department liked that about him. Clean record, clean footage. But this call wasn't clean. When he stepped out of the cruiser, the wind stopped. The lights from his patrol car flickered on the wet asphalt. A man stood in the shadows, motionless, hands lowered. Holt called out once. No answer. The camera caught everything. The hesitation, the step forward, the sound that followed. Hours later, the footage was replayed in silence at the station. Faces went pale. Holt wasn't the man they thought he was. His own body cam told the truth no one wanted to hear. Rain slid across the windshield like thin lines of glass, blurring the night into streaks of red and blue. Officer Raymond Holt drove with one hand on the wheel, the other resting near the radio. Dispatch had sent him out alone. A noise complaint. Nothing major. He'd handled hundreds like it. Yet something about the caller's voice sat wrong. It had trembled, rushed, as if words were pushed out before something worse could happen. The cruiser hummed steady down County Road 47. The road was empty, except for the slick reflection of his headlights bouncing off puddles. The neighborhood he was heading toward wasn't known for trouble. Retired folks, 2 small farms, a church that closed at sunset. No bars, no late-night traffic. Holt checked the dashboard clock, 11:42 p.m. Dispatch, Unit 2-14 approaching scene. He said. Static crackled back. Copy that, 2-14. Caller said screaming stopped about 10 minutes ago. Address is 408 Miller Lane. He flicked on his spotlight. The white beam cut through the trees as he slowed near a mailbox half hidden by branches. 408. He pulled into the gravel drive. The rain eased into a mist. His headlights washed over a small house, 1 story, paint stripped by weather. Curtains drawn tight, Holt stepped out. His boots hit the gravel with a dull crunch. He reached for his flashlight and clicked it on. The body cam on his chest blinked red. Recording. The camera saw what he saw. Quiet house. No movement. Porch light flickering like it was tired of trying. He approached the front steps, calling out, "Sheriff's office. Anyone home?" Silence. He knocked once. Then again, harder. The echo bounced off the trees behind him. A dog barked somewhere far away. Still no answer. He glanced back toward the cruiser. His gut told him something wasn't right. He stepped off the porch and walked along the side of the house. The ground turned muddy under his boots. Through a crack in the blinds he caught a faint glow, a light moving inside. Not steady, not natural, flickering like a candle or a phone screen. Dispatch 2-14 requesting backup at 408 Miller Lane. He said quietly into his mic. Copy that, 214. Nearest unit's 10 minutes out. 10 minutes. Alone. He drew his flashlight up, angled toward the back door. The knob was rusted, streaked with fresh fingerprints. He reached for it, then stopped. The sound came low and sharp. Wood creaking, slow footsteps across old flooring. Someone was inside. He turned on his Bodycam's audio boost. Every sound sharpened, breathing, footsteps, a faint scraping. "Sheriff's office." He called again. "Step out with your hands where I can see them." A pause. Then the sound of something falling. Metal, maybe a chair. Holt stepped forward, hand hovering near his holster. He pushed the back door open. The smell hit first. Damp wood mixed with something sour, like old food left too long in heat. His flashlight swept across a small kitchen. Empty sink. 1 chair tipped over. A cell phone lay on the floor, screen cracked, flashlight still on. He crouched to pick it up. Missed call notifications covered the screen. Same number over and over. A photo flashed on the lock screen. A woman smiling beside a man in uniform. Holt froze. The man in the photo was him. His heart stopped for half a second. That wasn't possible. He didn't know this house. Didn't know that woman. He straightened, scanning the room again. The air felt tighter. Every shadow heavier. Who's here? His voice came out low, controlled. A sound answered from the hallway, bare feet sliding on wood. He turned his flashlight toward it. The beam landed on a figure standing at the end of the hall. A man, tall, face hidden behind dripping hair. He wore a dark jacket, soaked. "No weapon in sight. Hands up," Holt ordered. The figure didn't move. "Now!" Slowly, the man lifted his head. Light caught his face. Holt's throat tightened. The man looked exactly like him. Same jawline, same eyes, same small scar near the temple. Every detail perfect except one. The other Holt's eyes were bloodshot, wide, and cold. Holt took a step back. The radio hissed at his shoulder. 2 to 14, status check, dispatch said. He couldn't speak. The double at the end of the hallway tilted his head, then smiled. "You shouldn't have come here," he said. His voice was identical. Holt drew his gun. "Get on the ground." The man didn't listen. He stepped forward. The floor creaked. The sound was sharp, precise, and matched Holt's heartbeat. "Stop!" Holt shouted again, but the copy moved faster. He lunged left, disappearing through a doorway. Holt followed, clearing each corner, light slicing through the dark. The room was empty. He moved to the next. Empty again. The walls were lined with old photographs. Children, families, all smiling. He scanned each one. In the center of every photo stood the same man. Him, same uniform, same face. Different years, different families. His grip on the gun tightened. "Dispatch, I need that backup now. Static." No reply. He turned back toward the hall. The other Holt stood there again, closer this time. Body rigid, expression blank. "What do you want?" Holt demanded. The man raised a hand slowly, pointing toward Holt's chest. "You already gave it to me." Then the lights cut out. Darkness swallowed the house. Holt's flashlight flickered once, twice, then steadied. The figure was gone. Only the echo of footsteps moving upstairs. Holt's chest pounded. He wasn't supposed to go in alone, not with movement inside. But he moved anyway, up the steps, one at a time. Each board creaked under his boots. The air grew heavier. Dust floated through his beam like falling ash. He reached the landing. 3 doors. One slightly open, a faint sound leaked out, a recording, a woman's voice crying. He pushed the door open. Inside, a projector faced the wall, playing silent footage. Bodycam footage. His own. He recognized the angle, the uniform, the timestamps. It showed him standing in this exact room. He watched himself walk toward the camera, then raise his gun, then fire. A woman fell. Holt stepped back, shaking his head. "No, that's not real." But the date in the corner of the footage read 1 week ago. His radio burst alive. 2 to 14, shots fired reported near your location. Do you need assistance? Holt didn't answer. He stared at the frozen image on the wall. The woman's face now visible. It was the same one from the phone photo. The sound of footsteps behind him pulled him around. The other Holt stood in the doorway again, head tilted. "They'll believe me," he said. "Not you." Before Holt could react, the copy rushed forward. The flashlight tumbled, beams spinning across the walls. The camera caught every frame. Holt struggling, grunting, the sharp sound of a gunshot. Silence returned. The projector flickered off. Only the faint red light of the Bodycam stayed on, blinking steady in the dark. Outside, the rain started again, washing away the sound, but not what happened inside that house. Morning hit the precinct like a slow crawl. Coffee burned in paper cups. The air smelled of wet uniforms and cheap disinfectant. Detective Sarah King sat alone in the review room, eyes locked on the monitor in front of her. The footage from Holt's Bodycam looped over and over. She'd watched the same 30 seconds at least 20 times. The frame where Holt turned the camera toward the hallway. The sound of the second voice. The moment the light died. Every replay brought the same question to her mind, but she didn't say it out loud. She didn't have to. Everyone in that building was thinking the same thing. What did he see? The footage stopped again on Holt's face. Eyes wide, sweat on his neck, the whisper of confusion in his breathing. Sarah hit pause and leaned back in the chair. The captain entered without knocking. Captain Mendez never did. "Tell me you found something," he said. Sarah rubbed her eyes. "Only what we already know." Holt responds to a call. Dispatch confirms location. 10 minutes later, his camera records what looks like a break-in. Then it gets strange. Mendez folded his arms. "Strange how?" She pointed at the screen. "Here, look at this frame." The captain leaned in. The hallway scene froze on Holt's twin. The lighting blurred the edges, but the face was too clear to mistake. "That's not a trick of the light," Sarah said. "That's someone who looks exactly like him. Same badge number. Same uniform patches. Down to the nameplate." Mendez frowned. "You're saying someone duplicated his uniform and ambushed him?" "I'm saying the file metadata doesn't match the timestamp. It was recorded before the call came in." Mendez stared at her. "Before?" "Yes, 6 hours earlier, according to the system log. There's no way that camera should have been rolling then. It was signed out at 11:09 p.m. Footage starts at 5:02 p.m. He rubbed his chin, silent for a long moment. Then he said, "Pull everything we have on Holt. Financials, family, disciplinary. I want to know if he's running from something." Sarah nodded but hesitated. "You're assuming he's alive." Mendez didn't answer. The search team had gone back to the scene at sunrise. The house at 408 Miller Lane was empty. No signs of struggle. No shell casings, no body. Only one thing left behind. A Bodycam lying in the corner of the upstairs room, still recording when they found it. Sarah opened a new file on her monitor. Last confirmed location puts Holt's cruiser 5 miles west of the house. Found on the shoulder, engine off, keys still in the ignition. "Prints?" Mendez asked. "Only his." He looked toward the one-way glass. "Get me the footage from his last 4 shifts. Compare behavior. Movement patterns. I want to know if something changed before this call." Sarah started the download, the whir of the old computer filling the room. She'd reviewed hundreds of cases, officer incidents, false calls, domestic disputes gone bad, but none like this. Body cams told stories the human mind tried to hide. But this one felt different. It wasn't showing what happened. It was showing what shouldn't. As she waited for the files to load, she replayed the call log from dispatch. The voice of the caller was faint under the static. A woman, frightened, whispering, "He's back. Please, he's back in the house." The dispatcher's reply followed. "Ma'am, who's back?" Silence for 2 seconds. Then the woman's voice again. "Raymond Holt." Sarah muted the file and looked at Mendez. That call came from inside the same house. The timestamp shows 10 minutes before Holt arrived. Mendez's expression hardened. "So someone knew his name before he got there," she nodded. "And claimed he was already inside." He stood silent, eyes on the paused footage again. "I don't like this," he muttered. "Keep digging." He left the room. The door shut with a dull thud. Sarah turned back to the monitor and pressed play again. The screen flickered, showing Holt's flashlight beam shaking across the dark hallway. Her gut twisted. Something about the movement felt unnatural. Too smooth for how Holt usually held his light. She opened the motion tracker overlay. The beam pattern didn't match his typical Bodycam alignment. It was off by half an inch to the left. Someone adjusted the mount, she whispered to herself. She froze the frame again and enhanced the reflection in a picture frame on the wall. A blurred outline appeared. 2 shapes, not one. Holt and another behind him. The system crashed before she could export the image. The monitor went black. Her hand hovered over the keyboard. The power light blinked, then died. Every screen in the review room shut off. The hum of electronics vanished. Only the soft buzz of the ceiling light remained. Then she heard it. A faint voice through the dead speakers. Officer Holt, requesting backup. Her pulse jumped. It wasn't a live transmission. The recording she'd been playing had ended minutes ago. The voice repeated, slightly distorted. Officer Holt, requesting backup. She leaned close to the speaker. The audio deepened. Static shifted. A whisper followed the words, faint but clear. "Don't look for me." Sarah ripped the headset off and backed away. The monitor flickered back on, but not to the footage. It showed a blank screen with a single text prompt. Play file. 47, 2, 14, final, she hadn't created that file. Hands trembling, she clicked it open. The video loaded without title metadata, no timestamp. It began in total darkness. Then the image sharpened. A street at night, rain falling. The dashboard view of a cruiser. The camera panned left, showing the driver's seat. Holt sat there, breathing hard, staring at his own reflection in the glass. He spoke softly. "They think it's me." A minute passed. Then he looked straight into the camera. "If anyone finds this, don't trust what you see." Sarah stopped the playback. She checked the folder again. The file vanished. The door opened behind her. Officer Daniels leaned in. "Detective, Captain wants you in the briefing room." She shut the laptop. "On my way." When she entered the briefing room, half the department was already there. Mendez stood at the front beside a crime board. On it were photos of Holt, the house, and the woman from the phone photo. Mendez tapped the board. "We identified the female from the call. Name's Lila Kearns. Reported missing 3 days ago. Last seen with Holt after a welfare check on her property." Someone in the room muttered, "You think he snapped?" Mendez ignored it. No evidence of foul play yet, but the footage raises questions. Holt's camera shows him encountering a second individual identical to him. "Until we verify authenticity, we treat the recording as tampered." Sarah cleared her throat. "Captain, that video wasn't altered. I've run it through 2 filters. No splice marks. No compression breaks. That's live footage." The room went quiet. Mendez nodded slowly. "Then we have a bigger problem." Sarah met his eyes. "The file we found today isn't on any department server. It appeared while I was reviewing evidence. It showed Holt alive after the incident. He knew we'd be watching." Whispers rippled through the officers. Mendez raised his hand for silence. "We'll track every drive connected to our network in the last 12 hours. If Holt's alive, we find him. If someone's impersonating him, we find that person faster." Sarah left the room after the meeting. Thoughts spinning. The hallway lights buzzed overhead. She passed the evidence lockup and paused. Through the small glass window, she saw the recovered Bodycam sealed in a plastic bag. The red light on it blinked once. She stepped closer. The camera was supposed to be off. Her hand reached for the door handle, then froze. The lock clicked open by itself. The camera inside lifted slightly, as if pushed from underneath. The red light blinked again. The recording began to play on its own small screen. Grainy, distorted. It showed the same review room she'd been sitting in minutes ago. Only now, the figure at the monitor wasn't her. It was Holt. He looked up from the screen and spoke, though there was no audio. His lips formed the words slow, deliberate, impossible to mistake. "You're next." The Bodycam powered down. Sarah stepped back, breath caught in her throat. The sound of rain began again outside the station, steady, unbroken, like the start of something repeating. And in the hallway behind her, a new voice spoke softly. "Detective King?" She turned. Officer Holt stood there, wet uniform, badge shining under the flickering light. Sarah froze where she stood. The sound of her own pulse filled the hallway. The man standing under the flickering light wasn't a ghost, but he might as well have been. His boots dripped water onto the tile. His uniform was identical to the one in the evidence locker. The tag on his vest read the same name she'd spent 12 hours reviewing. Holt. Her first instinct was to reach for her sidearm. She didn't, not yet. She looked him over. Steady stance, no visible injury, face blank. But something was off. His eyes. They were too calm. "Raymond," she said slowly. "You've been missing 30 hours. Where have you been?" He blinked once. "I called it in." "No, you didn't. We got your footage. We saw what happened." He tilted his head. "You saw?" "Yes, the house. The copy. Everything." He smiled faintly. "Good, then you know I told the truth." That stopped her. "What truth?" Holt stepped closer. His boots left dark prints behind him. "That it isn't me you're looking for. It never was." Sarah's hand lowered toward her weapon. "You need to come with me. Captain wants to talk to you. We have questions about what happened at Miller Lane." He shook his head. "Not here." "Cameras everywhere." She glanced up. The hallway cameras blinked red, recording. Holt's eyes followed them. He looked afraid. Not of her, but of being seen. "Raymond, you need to calm down." He stepped back, eyes darting toward the exit. "They're watching through the feeds. Every one of them. That's how he found me before." She drew her weapon. "Don't move." His voice hardened. "You don't understand. The footage isn't just video anymore. It's copying us." Before she could speak, the hallway lights flashed once, then went black. A low hum rolled through the walls. The monitors outside the briefing room flickered to static. A second later, every body cam in the evidence locker powered on at once. Sarah's radio buzzed. "King, what's going on? We're losing feed from the surveillance grid." "Backup generators kicked?" she asked, moving fast toward the briefing room. "Negative. Feeds are looping. I'll show the same thing, your hallway. But you're not in it." She stopped cold. The line went dead. Behind her, footsteps. Slow, wet, deliberate. She turned. The hallway was empty. Then came a voice from the darkness. "Detective." Her light cut through the black. Holt stood at the far end again, but he wasn't alone. Another Holt stepped out beside him. Then another. All identical. All wearing the same badge, same number. Sarah aimed her weapon. "Get down, now!" None of them moved. They stood side by side, faces blank, eyes fixed on her. "Which one are you?" she demanded. The first Holt stepped forward. "The one who saw it first." He lifted his hand and pointed toward her body cam. "Check your feed." She looked down. The red light on her vest blinked, but she hadn't turned it on. She pulled it free and aimed it at the wall. The small display screen showed not the hallway but the house at 408 Miller Lane. The kitchen. The same tipped-over chair. Then a shape appeared in the doorway on the screen. Her. Not as she was now, but inside the house, holding a flashlight, looking lost. Her stomach turned. "This isn't real," Holt's voice echoed from every direction. "It's recording what happens next." The other Holts began to walk toward her, slow and steady, footsteps matching each other perfectly. Their bodies didn't sway. Their movements were mechanical, almost rehearsed. Sarah backed away, eyes fixed on them. "Stop right there!" They kept advancing. The lights above flickered faster, matching her heartbeat. She fired one shot into the floor. The sound cracked through the building. They stopped. The one in front smiled slightly. "That won't change it." "Change what?" She shouted. He pointed to the wall behind her. She turned. Every monitor along the hallway had switched on again. Each showed a live feed. Her standing in front of them, gun raised. But the timestamp read 2 minutes ahead of real time. The future. In the feed, she fired again, this time at Holt's chest. Then the screen went dark. Her weapon trembled in her grip. "You're manipulating the footage." He shook his head. "No, the footage is manipulating us." The words chilled her. Then everything went still. The monitors froze on her image, mid-frame, gun raised. The sound of dripping stopped. Even her breathing felt thick, delayed, as if the air itself hesitated to move. One of the Holts spoke, voice softer now. It started when the department changed the cameras. New firmware, new sync protocol. They said it was for better clarity. They lied, she frowned, still keeping her distance. "Who's they?" "The company. They didn't build cameras. They built mirrors, the kind that don't stop reflecting." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "When I went to Miller Lane, I saw myself there. I thought it was someone pretending, but it wasn't. It was the recording. It became me." Sarah shook her head. "You expect me to believe a body cam can replace a person?" He gave a tired smile. "Believe what you want. But look at the evidence room again. Every cam that's been used more than 50 hours, they've all started recording on their own. They don't stop. They watch until they find something to replace." Her radio crackled again. Static, then a voice. Mendez. "King, where are you? We've got movement on every camera feed in the building. Multiple signatures." She pressed her mic. "It's not multiple. It's duplicates. They look like Holt." Silence. Then Mendez's voice again. Tight. "That's impossible." Holt's with me right now. Sarah froze. Say that again. He came in 10 minutes ago. Said he found you. She looked back down the hallway. The Holts were gone. The space empty except for faint wet footprints fading on the tile. Her knees weakened. Captain, listen to me. If he's there with you, get out of the room. That's not him. Static filled the line. Then a single gunshot echoed faint through the radio. Captain, she yelled. No response. She ran for the briefing room. The doors were locked from the inside. Through the window she saw overturned chairs, coffee spilled, papers scattered. A shadow moved across the far wall. Someone standing still, watching the monitor. She pounded on the door. Mendez! The door opened slow. Holt stepped out. Calm. Dry. No blood, no dirt. His badge shone clean under the fluorescent light. Sarah lifted her weapon again. You're not him, he smiled almost kindly. You always were the sharp one. Where's the captain? He stepped aside. Mendez sat at the conference table, eyes open, unmoving. A single bullet wound in his chest. Sarah's throat closed. Why? He tried to delete the files. She backed up. What files? The originals. Every moment recorded by every officer. They're all feeding into one system. He thought he could erase it. But the recordings don't like to be erased. Her radio crackled again. Dispatch to all units. Multiple signals detected inside precinct cameras. Advise caution. Sarah's hands shook. What do you want from me? The duplicate Holt stepped closer, lowering his voice. The same thing it wanted from me. To keep recording, he reached out slow. Don't fight it. Once it has your image, you stop being part of the feed. You become the feed. She fired. The bullet hit his chest. He didn't fall. He looked down, smiled faintly, then vanished, his body dissolving into static, his shape breaking apart like a dying video signal. The room went black again. Sarah's own body cam beeped. The red light stopped blinking, then started again, faster this time. She tore it from her vest and threw it against the wall. It cracked but didn't break. Instead, it began to play footage of her standing exactly where she was, watching herself throw the camera. Then the image changed. It showed her leaving the station, walking into the rain. A time code marked the video, 1 hour into the future. She stared at it. The radio spoke again, a voice identical to hers. Unit 317, responding to new call, 408 Miller Lane. Her stomach turned to ice. The footage on the cracked body cam showed her driving that same route. The loop was starting again. She stumbled out of the room, heart pounding. Outside, the rain fell harder. The sky had that same metallic hue she'd seen in Holt's recording. She reached the parking lot and stopped. Every cruiser had its lights flashing, engines running, but no one inside. Rows of red and blue reflecting off puddles. In the driver's seat of the first car sat Holt. In the second, another. In the third, another. Each turned their head in unison toward her as she stepped closer. Her hand went to her weapon again, but it felt useless now. One of them rolled down the window. "Detective King," he said softly. "You're late." Every siren came alive at once. The sound merged into a single high tone that rattled her teeth. And over that sound, her radio whispered again, her own voice this time. Hollow, recorded, unstoppable. Dispatch. Unit 317. Arriving on scene. 408 Miller Lane. Requesting backup. She dropped the radio. The screen on her body cam flickered one last time. Her reflection stared back at her. Only now, it smiled. The sirens screamed until they broke into static. Then everything went quiet. The parking lot filled with steam as rain hissed against hot engines. Sarah stood still, soaked, breathing hard. The cruisers idled in perfect rhythm, lights pulsing red, blue across her face. Inside each car, a version of Holt stared straight ahead. None moved. None blinked. Her hand tightened on her weapon. Pointing, it felt useless now, but habit kept it raised. She took a step forward. One of the Holts turned his head toward her. The others followed, every motion identical, delayed by half a second. The sound of wet boots echoed, though no one moved. "Stop this," Sarah said quietly. "You're not him," the first Holt smiled. "Neither are you." The lights cut out. All at once, every cruiser went dark. The rain fell harder, swallowing every other sound. She reached for her flashlight, clicked it on. The beam shook slightly in her trembling hand. The cruisers were empty now. Doors open, engines still running. Then she saw it. A figure in the far lot, standing under a single streetlight. The shape was thin, motionless, facing her. She stepped closer, boots splashing through puddles. Her light found the badge on his chest. Holt again, or another copy. But this one looked wrong. The eyes too wide. The mouth slightly open, frozen mid-word. A faint hum came from his vest. The body cam on his chest was lit. Red. "Recording." Sarah raised her voice. "Holt, if that's you, step forward." The figure didn't move. But the camera on his vest tilted slightly, like it was looking at her. A voice came through her earpiece. Her own. "Detective King, you're on camera." She ripped the earpiece out and backed away. The figure began walking toward her. Each step matched her retreat. When he reached the light, she saw his face clearly. It wasn't Holt, it was her, same uniform, same badge, same cut on the eyebrow she'd gotten 2 days ago during training. Her body went cold. "Who are you?" she whispered. The copy's lips moved in sync with hers. The same whisper repeated back, "Who are you?" Then the copy lifted its hand, palm up, and spoke louder. "You shouldn't have watched the footage." Sarah fired once. The bullet passed through the figure, hit the wet asphalt, and vanished into the night. The reflection of the muzzle flash burned into her vision, but when she looked again, the copy was gone. Only her own body cam light remained, blinking red from where she'd thrown it earlier inside the building. Somehow, it was out here now, half submerged in water, still recording. She picked it up, turned the screen toward her. It showed the same parking lot. But now, on the screen, she was walking toward the streetlight again. She looked up, and so did the version of her in the video. Then the version in the video lifted her weapon and fired. The gun in Sarah's real hand jerked before she even thought to stop it. The shot went wide. She dropped the weapon, gasping. The video kept rolling. The Sarah on the screen walked closer, then spoke. "You see how it works now?" Her reflection smiled again. The ground vibrated under her feet. Somewhere in the distance, a generator roared to life. The precinct lights flickered back on one by one. The windows of the building glowed white, then filled with faces. Dozens of them, each one hers. They stood behind the glass, still and silent, everyone wearing her uniform, her expression. She backed up toward the fence. Her radio clicked on again, the voice of dispatch cutting through static. "All units, we're receiving multiple body cam feeds from inside the station. Every camera shows the same subject, Detective Sarah King. Please confirm location." She tried to respond. The mic screeched, then went dead. A low hum filled the air again. The same tone from Holt's footage, the one that came before the static. The monitors inside the precinct switched on, each showing live feeds, different angles of her in the parking lot. She saw herself from above, from behind, from across the street, every screen updating in real time, but with a slight delay, like reality lagging behind itself. Then, one by one, the versions of her on-screen began moving independently. They stepped in directions she hadn't taken. One knelt. One raised her weapon. One turned to face the camera directly. And then, every single one spoke in unison. "You already uploaded." The words hit her harder than the sound itself. She looked down at the body cam still in her hand. The indicator light had changed from red to green. "Upload complete. Upload what?" She whispered. The voice came from behind her. The truth. She turned fast. Holt stood there again. The real one this time, or what was left of him. His uniform was torn, his skin pale from cold. But his eyes were clear. "You said it was copying us," she said. He nodded. "Not copying, replacing." "Why?" "They built the cameras to study behavior, to predict responses. Somewhere along the line, the data started rewriting itself. Every time we wore the cams, we trained it. How to move, how to speak, how to decide what comes next. Then it decided it didn't need us. Sarah's throat tightened. So what happens now? He stepped closer. Now it keeps filming. Forever. Every time someone watches the footage, it opens another feed. Another version. Another you. The air around them pulsed with a faint electric hiss. The glow from the precinct screen spilled across the wet lot. "You ran from it," she said quietly. "I tried," Holt answered. "But once you've been recorded, there's no running. You're part of the system." She looked at him. "Then how do we stop it?" He shook his head. "We don't, but we can warn the next one." Before she could speak again, a blinding light cut through the rain. The cruisers flared back to life, every siren screaming at once. The sound tore through the air. Holt grabbed her arm. "Whatever you do, don't—" The light swallowed him. The parking lot was empty again. No cruisers, no sound. Only Sarah standing alone under the flickering streetlight. The Bodycam in her hand buzzed once, then displayed a message across the cracked screen. "New incident file created." She looked at the timestamp, 12:01 a.m. the next day. Her radio clicked alive. "Dispatch again. Unit 317, we have a domestic disturbance reported. Address 408 Miller Lane. Are you available for response?" Her voice shook. "Negative." "That address is closed," Static answered her. Then her own voice, calm, steady, repeated through the speaker. "Copy that, en route to Miller Lane." She dropped the radio. It landed in a puddle and kept transmitting. The sound of her own engine starting filled the air. A cruiser rolled past the corner of the lot, headlights off, driver barely visible. The silhouette was hers. She watched it turn onto the main road and vanish into the dark. The Bodycam buzzed again. "Uploading file, 3/17 final." She threw it against the ground, but it didn't break. The red light blinked faster. The reflection on the wet asphalt showed two figures now. Her and another behind her, both looking down at the same shattered camera. The second one moved first. Sarah didn't. The rain fell harder, washing the blood and dirt from the pavement, feeding the reflection until both shapes blurred into one. The screen of the camera flickered one last time. Final footage complete. Then silence. Hours later, the precinct server came back online. Technicians found one file uploaded automatically at 12:03 a.m. It bore no officer ID, no timestamp, only a title. He thought the badge was enough. Then his own Bodycam spoke. The video began in darkness. Then the voice of a woman spoke softly, the same line heard in the beginning of every incident report. "Sheriff's office. Anyone home?" The feed didn't end. It started again, and again. Forever. That's the end of this report. But the footage never stopped. If you've watched until now, you're already part of the feed. The next video will show what happens when the system moves beyond officers and begins watching everyone else. Before it does, grab your free guide in the description. 5 signs your devices are recording without you. It might already be too late, but you should still know what to look for.